Hi, we're continuing our learning of Mishnah on Shabbat. We're in chapter 3, and we'll look at 3 and 4. Ein notnin beitza b'tzad hamecham bishvil shetitgalgel velo yavki'ena v'sudarin. Okay, so we can't put an egg next to a kettle or some kind of heated metal that was heated from the fire and now off the fire for it to become cooked. Nor can you break it onto sudarin, which is something that was heated from the sun, some kind of sun derivative. So we know that there's derivatives of something are also problematic. Derivative of fire, using that to cook, or derivative of the sun, even though the sun itself wouldn't constitute cooking the same way when something is heated by the sun and it's not clear what heated it. Maybe perhaps a fire heated it. It's not clear that the sun necessarily heated it. Then it would also be rabbinically prohibited because of cooking. The Rabbi Yossi matir, but Rabbi Yossi permits, because he permits the one having to do with the sun derivative, because he thinks it is clear that, and people won't confuse it with something being a fire derivative. They'll know that it came from, it was heated by the sun. But we don't follow Rabbi Yossi. We follow the previous opinion, the Tanna Kama's opinion. V'lo yatminena v'chol uv'avak drachim bishvil shetitzaleh. So, nor can you cover it in sand or in dust of the roads, dust of the paths, in order for it to become roasted. So this could be a couple of different things going on here. So this has to do with more likely like hatmana. So we're not allowed to insulate with something that will add heat. We can insulate with things that retain heat but don't add heat or don't have directly fire. So that's an important part of the hatmana, of this insulation, of covering things on Shabbat. And here it's saying that we wouldn't cover with sand or dust. And so maybe that's rabbinically derived from the fact that maybe then perhaps you would use ash, you would use something that would actually add heat, which would be biblically prohibited. And this is a rabbinic prohibition to make sure you don't do that, or maybe it has something to do with the sand. There's some kind of other Shabbos problem of making a hole or moving something in some way. So there could be an additional issue. The next halacha, the next Mishnah, is going to relate back to this one with a story of a real life case. So Ma'aseh asu anshe Tiberia. So there was an incident that happened that the people of Tiberias, veheviu silon shel tzonen letoch ama shel chamin. So the people of Tiberias ran a pipe of cold water through a canal of hot springs. So this cold water was getting heated up through this natural source of heat. Amru lahem chachamim, the sages said to them, im b'shabbat kechamin shehuchamu v'shabbat, asurin birchitza uv'shtia. If it was done on Shabbat, that the heating process actually occurred, that it was running through the pipe on Shabbat and got to the final destination, this is like heating water that was heated on, this is like hot water that was heated on Shabbat. And therefore, it would be forbidden for both bathing and for drinking. And then they go on. The Yom Tov, if it was done on Yom Tov, this is a little bit different. Kechamin shehu chamu the Yom Tov. It would be like water that was heated on Yom Tov. Asurin birchitza mutarin b'shtia. Then it would be forbidden in bathing, but permitted for drinking. So we have to explain both of those. What is the difference between them? First of all, bathing in this case has to do with the whole body. A minimal amount of bathing on the hands, feet, face would be permissible. Even in this case. So it's saying you can't bathe the whole body, but you can use it for drinking. And that has to do with the principle we have relating to Yom Tov of Ochel Nefesh, of doing things necessary for food and drink. So we're allowed to cook on Yom Tov with certain precautions taken to make sure that we're not starting a fire, beginning a fire anew. But we are allowed to certainly heat food and drink up and even cook on Yom Tov because of this principle of Ochel Nefesh. So then it would be permissible, because that, even if it's heating up water and it's cooking of water, it would be permissible on Yom Tov for our basic needs, for our needs of, but not for bathing the whole body. Mulyar hagaruf shotin hemenu v'shabbat. tichi af al pi shegrufa ein shotin mimenu. So it says a mulyar, so we'll have to explain these terms, that was cleared of its coals. We may drink from it on Shabbat. And antichi, whatever that is, even if it was cleared, we may not drink from it. So these words I have to look up what these words are. These are interesting terms of devices that they had in these mishnayot times. So the real difference here has to do with what we were talking about with cooking and hatmana, of this insulating, this retaining of heat. So they're both different devices that are used for retaining heat, like one with the coals in the middle and water around it, and one with this double, the second one having to do with like this double bowl where the part in between the two layers contains coals. So we're saying for the first one, if it was cleared of its coals, then you can use it you could drink the water on Shabbat, because there's no longer any heat being added. It's just meant to retain heat, which is fine for that water. So that's kind of like our modern day kumkum or mecham, the hot water heater it's on before Shabbat. The water's already boiled before Shabbat. We're allowed to drink that water. We're allowed to use that water. And the second one, somehow this device, even if the coals are cleared, still it has so much heat that it will be adding heat, and therefore it is a problem even for drinking. It can't be adding heat to it, to cooking it more when it comes to liquids. That would be a problem. So it's these two different devices. So we're talking about cooking. We're talking specifically about matters of hatmana, about differences between Shabbat and Yom Tov. A lot of different things came up. We heard like a real story of the people of Tiberias. So a bunch of different things in these two mishnayot, and we'll continue learning chapter 3 next week. Please God. Wishing everyone a good week, good Shabbos in a few days, and all the best. Bye.